Hi everyone, and welcome to this next session. Really excited to get going with. We're going to have an awesome session. Let's get started then with Marco. So Marco, great to meet you. Do you want to share us a little bit about yourself, what you do in the DAO?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for the intro, Shaun. Hey everyone. So what do I do in the DAO? Basically, I'm here to help our grantees and the whole ecosystem succeed. So I help our grantee applicants to make and create and submit Rockstar application for their grant. And once they are on their way, if they get the grant and they have it, I help them to make sure they have all the edge cases covered. I help them basically if they are unsure about like what direction should they take their staking application. I help them with the product as well a little. I'm here for the whole ecosystem and for our grantees to help them succeed. And what SSV has, we have just launched a private mainnet, but we already have like more than 20 teams building on us, different staking apps and different tooling for the ecosystem. So yeah, and basically I'm here to help the ecosystem participants succeed.
No, that's awesome. So you also work on the SSV Awesome repo and manage that bad boy. Very cool.
Yeah. That's also basically my goal is to help them succeed. So I manage and maintain and help to create this repo, and now it's split to two. That's a news for the people who need repo. There's also an SSV repo which has all the ecosystem resources, other projects, tooling that can help the builders start building. I mean, whoever, it's a public repo, so whoever can start and build whatever they want, not just grantees. And I also maintain the LSD pool repo, where you can really quickly launch an LSD pool, basically fully working on Girly, front end, back end, smart contracts, everything ready to go. And basically, I also have a tutorials there. I'll walk you through how to do the pool, how to deploy it. And I'm currently, you can see my background, and I've just checked it out from the hotel. I was here at ECC, great vibes here, and I was doing a workshop on how to start with Awesome SSV repo.
That's very cool.
Do you have like any particular goals or things that you'd like to achieve over the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, I would like to basically take the repo and take the ecosystem tooling to the next level. I mean, my work with grantees is I'm trying to scale up the work so it's available for everyone, not just grantees, but the whole ecosystem. The next step, I would like the tooling to take into would be an SDK, SSV SDK for the developers, so they have really a very easy job deploying staking apps. Using SSV, but not just that, there is tooling that is needed for deploying validators as well. You can think of it, a very good example would be Aave SDK. They also have an SDK that make the developer life easy. And the change would be, or the improvement would be that it would be, right now we have like a mesh of different tools, and this would be like one unified tool that makes the whole process better and easier. And then there are like small improvements that I always do. Basically doing certain lists, basically we have a list, for example, for architecture questions for the grantees and for the people to make sure they have all the edge cases covered, everything is well and done. But I digress. The main focus and the main cool thing for the community would be the SDK.
Cool stuff. I would actually like to hear a bit more about ECC. How was it for you? Like, what were some of can you give us some highlights possibly? Like, how did DVT feature there? Like, what were like some of the major highlights?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, ECC is great. First, Paris is amazing. Those of you who have been here can definitely vouch for that. The venue is very nice. There's many side events. Some people like that, some people don't. Meaning that there are many locations where the events take place. So yeah, you basically can hop around, see different places. Regarding SSV and DVT, there was a whole like 1-day conference that was dedicated to SSV and restaking. That was very cool. Also, Elon has had a panel here. What I have done a DVT workshop where I basically helped the builders and show them. It was a hands-on workshop where we basically followed the LSD repo and built liquid staking derivative pool from the scratch. So that was cool. I have also organized a meetup there. So there was the second SSV meetup that I have done on a conference like this. First one was in Prague. Overall, great vibes, a lot of builders, even though you can say we are still in a bear market. I would say we're in a build market because you can see the energy here. It's great. DVT is really coming to fore. Signaling applications are really hot right now. So yeah, those are my kind of first impressions.
Very cool.
Awesome stuff.
Do you want to hop into the presentation? Your thing.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so guys, I'll share with you basically kind of I would say a bullish take for SSV in specific and LSD in general. And let me find how to share my screen. So basically, it's a presentation. It will help me to visualize this for you and talk to you about why do I think DVT is a catalyst for LSD development, and we'll see a new renaissance, and we are already seeing it in the LSD market right now. There is Lido and nothing for a long time. Then there is Rocket Pool, but I think this will change. And let me share with you a couple of things why I think this is about to change. Anyway, guys, I'll walk through it quickly, and if you have some questions, it's not everything may be clear, so ask me or stop me. Basically the overview why I think LSD is about to blossom is that until now there were no withdrawals that changed in April. This was really bad for LSDs because they couldn't keep the peg. I'll not really go into the details right now. The whole presentation has 1 hour, but the bottom line is the withdrawals that had been enabled now allow even smaller LSDs to keep a peg. So now it's not such a big problem for a small LSD market, small in TVL to take off. And I'll talk about the hard problem of LSD. Why is building LSD experience hard, and basically how does SSV address it? How does the DVT addresses it, and then how SSV addresses it? This is the state of Ethereum. I will not go through this, but I'll walk you through the main thing. So the main thing probably everyone knows, just to make sure we understand each other and to be clear, when I'm talking staker is somebody who stakes, operator is somebody who runs the machines, who runs the node, and validator is the actual node. It's the actual 32 that is validating. Okay, so as an operator can run multiple nodes. Just to make this clear. LSD pool 101. How does LSD pool actually works? In very simple terms. And I'll go later into why this is important and how it all fits into the picture. So a user deposits ETH and gets LSD back. Like you can basically buy an LSD token. What does it mean? You basically give ETH 10 ETH and you get back 10 STE or a different staking derivative. Now the hard problem is on the right side you see the pool where your ETH is stored, but then the hard problem is how to safely delegate this ETH and run the validators. This is the hard problem. And currently, without DVT, there are two solutions. Before DVT, there is a trusted model that is used by Lido, and to ensure that this ETH is not stolen and is in good hands, Lido uses reputable operators that they trust. The downside of this, obviously, is this is not really scalable. The set of operators that hold all ETH for Lido is around 30 right now. Rocket Pool has a different mechanism for this, but it's still not really scalable. Why is it not scalable? Because it's collateral based, and if I want to run a Rocket Pool node, if I'm a professional operator and want to run a Rocket Pool node and the staking services for them, I need to provide my own collateral to ensure good behavior. So anybody can join, but you need collateral, and so you can't really scale the business. Like, people can't really scale the business, and Rocket Pool had a big problem scaling. So to summarize, Lido is doing this by requiring trust in the system, and Rocket Pool is doing this by requiring collateral from the operators. So both of these are not very scalable. So what DVT allows us to split the key, split one validator key that represents one validator in the system into 4 partial keys. So Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Dylan are operators, and they are running one validator together, or they could be running 100 validators together. Doesn't matter. The thing is, majority of them need to need to agree on the next duty, and it's a joint effort. So if one party fails or is malicious, nothing happens. Okay, so what does this solve? This drastically reduces trust in any single operator. So previously, basically, if you are the operator and your machine fails, your validators stop basically, and you accrue penalties. It could be a nightmare. Also, without DVT, if you have a bad setup and you accidentally double sign something, all your validators are automatically slashed. Resiliency. So before DVT, if you run it in one jurisdiction or in one data center and something happens in this jurisdiction, in this data center, it's a problem. And all of these things don't exist with DVT. DVT solves all of these three main problems. So there's no trust in a single operator. If we are in a cluster together, we in the call, let's say Shaun, Robert, me and Amir, and my validator and I go down, my operator go down, or our validators are good. So these all problems are solved by DVT. What is not solved by DVT?
Yeah. For example, if we have a cluster, and let's say one of the operators is in a country where, let's say regulation changes and no longer staking, will that validator still be run, considering the other three operators are in countries where the jurisdiction allows for staking?
Yes, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. And this is the great thing about it, right? If it doesn't matter if a jurisdiction or some problem with the setup or whatever else, DVT addresses this. Yeah. So I think this is great, and this is why we are all for here.
Yeah. If you're looking at something like Coinbase, for example, and they decide to run DVT with let's say 16 participants in the cluster, do you think they would still be able to continue with their operation? Or is that a different kind of problem, do you think?
So the question was if there are 16, so if 16 operators run a cluster.
Coinbase, exactly. Coinbase in the US, someone's telling them now they have to suspend their services, like what has been happened. And if they have a cluster, the size is irrelevant, but let's just say the majority of the participants are outside of the country, they would still be able to do the job, basically.
Yeah. And it's even better because I think most people here on the call already know what DVT is and why is DVT great. What I think it's good to talk about is why DVT network, which is not just DVT, DVT with a networking layer. In what we are doing is basically much more than DVT, and I think it's good to talk about what makes SSV special in terms of other DVTs, right? Because DVT is great from what we have just said, but there is much more to SSV than a simple DVT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking about that, the ease, in terms of adapting clusters. If one goes down, or you can just reset, have a new cluster, and you can pick the locations. You have so much flexibility in terms of we say pretty much zero coordination. They're there and just click, done, right? So I think that's an awesome part of it.
Yeah, exactly. This is a great point. I think this is one of the most important things from the system perspective, that the whole system can adapt. You can in the nature, organisms need to adapt. And as shown, as you've said, if it happens that some jurisdiction suddenly, or we had that with Hertzner, that was a VPN operator in Germany, and they suddenly turn off all the Solana nodes from one day to the next because they decided they don't want to basically run blockchain infrastructure anymore, and this ability for the network to adopt to without without much work, you see that some of the operators went down, and you can just replace them with sending a simple transaction. This is really magical.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Did you have any other incidents to cover in the slides? I think we asked you a question.
I think
a little interruption there.
The question is great. I have just one thing, or one topic I wanted to say. Shaun, you had a great question, but I have another thing why I think the networking layer is very important. Is that what we have just talked about? But there are other things that I'll also share with you. So this is the DVT, right? What people usually don't talk about is the problems of simple DVT. If you don't really have the networking layer, if you just have a DVT, and there are three important problems that you normally is the coordination problem. How do you coordinate between the operators and stakers? without introducing single points of failure. This is a hard problem if you don't have a networking layer. Obviously, it is solved, and we have just discussed like what this allows. Without this being solved, if something like this happens, that one operator or some country just bans operators in their jurisdiction or something like that, it's very hard if you don't have the networking layer to just manually coordinate between all the operators to basically switch the fourth one or switch or for the staker to basically assign their validator to new operators. So this is a hard problem. We just talked about how elegantly the networking layer that SSV uses solves it. Also performance. Performance is also a big issue because like if you don't have the networking layer in most other like DVT systems, it's really hard to see like what is actually the performance of individual operators. You usually see like the cluster is down, but can you see what is the performance of operator A, B, C, D? It's very hard normally, but with the networking layer, what it allows everyone, all the network participants, to see how performant is each operator, and basically if there is some malicious action that the operator is trying to do. So, and because of this visibility, there are like two effects to this. One is the obvious one. You can replace the non-performing one. But even what I think is long-term really crucial thing is that operators that are not big operators, that don't really have the marketing push, and they don't have millions of ETH, and everybody knows them in the ecosystem, even small operators can basically show their performance. Because their performance is public, they can be judged solely on their merits. So and this is possible because of the networking layer and because you can see the performance of all the operators going into the path. So I think this is a super important thing. And yeah, there's a collusion. I'm not sure if this was clear, the performance issue.
Yeah, that's cool. So it doesn't have to be just trust based. It can be, people can go into SSV and they can see, all right, this person is in this country running these clients with this performance, and kind of, base their decisions off that, rather than saying, oh, this operator is a very well-known operator, we're just going to stick with them. It's very cool.
Exactly. And I think this is super important for the decentralization of the network, because we don't want to end up in the state where, okay, we have a DVT, but it's just like still the same operators that are now doing solo operating are the only operators who are doing DVT, right? We want to allow everybody to participate. I mean, this is the crypto ethos, right? Everybody should be on the same playing field. It should be transparent, and an operator should be judged on their merits, not on their.
100%. Very, very cool.
And maybe.
So,
Shall we continue then? So, Marco, I mean, if you want to stay around, you're welcome to. Otherwise, if you're busy as well, you're welcome to leave as well. But,
I gotta run. I have a flight to catch. So
thank you for sharing that. That was brilliant. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for the chat. It was nice having you on. We'll do it again sometime.
Take care.
Right.
Bye.
So moving on. I think something very interesting that's happening right now, in terms of the proposals, is that we have our first draft for our contributor guidelines. This is really important because it creates a framework for appointing individuals who want to contribute to the SSV network DAO, and it's not just for how to join, but also how to kind of structure these types of things. So if you're considering becoming a contributor, please have a look in the SSV DAO forum. You can find it on our website, and please comment on it, have a look at the guidelines, share your thoughts. We're always looking for more contributors to join the SSV DAO.
I think the more people that can share feedback on this, the better, because it's still like early days and we're still clarifying the DAO and roles and things. So whether you're a contributor or just anyone else, it's great to share your feedback. I mean, I saw in there, there's people can establish the role that's for 3 or for 6 months. There's that kind of side to it as well, and what's actually involved in the role or how it should be structured. So I think if you have certain ideas about how you think that should work, and how long the role should last, or what sort of commitments people should make as being a contributor, then that would be awesome, because we're all here to to support each other and to share ideas and to take the best path forward.
For sure. And I mean, contributions don't just come in the shape of adding your thoughts to a repository or, doing code and stuff. It can be all sorts of things, marketing initiatives, helping to write different blog posts. I mean, memes. It's like all contributions are definitely valid.
Yeah, and I think Marco's a good example of that. I mean, he's someone who's recently had his proposal passed, and it just shows you that if you are contributing in the DAO, you can establish your role. If you're supporting marketing or development or whatever it is, and you sort of create your own role, then you can create a proposal, get that passed, and boom, you're basically working now in SSV. So yeah, there's a lot of potential there.
I mean, he went to ETH, with the team and everything. I think that's really exciting. But also considering events. What happened
Let's
yesterday,
go to
Shaun?
events then. I'm gonna share my screen and then we can have a little chat about what's been happening. 1 second. Because I've got my camera and I can't share my screen. I think I'm not getting an option to share my screen. Dean, can you help with that?
Oh no.
It's sort of grayed out. It's off.
All right. Well, I mean, yesterday we had a very, very interesting chat. Shaun and I facilitated Twitter Space with SSV. And
We had
P2P.
we had Mitya, the Chief Product Officer from P2P, and Vladimir, who is the dev, like DVT dev. We also had Vladislav, the product manager, and obviously, we also had Alon from SSV, and Robert and I hosted. It was an awesome event. We got to hear some really interesting insights, especially from Alon and Mitya, about DVT, staking, what's happening in the industry, where things are moving. So it was really awesome. What do you think about it?
I enjoyed it a lot. I was very interested to hear what Mitya had to say actually about P2P's role in like how they are busy testing DVT and how they plan to use it. I think one of the cool things we spoke about also was, the user experience of staking at the moment and how DVT and different applications are improving that experience by kind of becoming building blocks, like, oh, I need this issue, I have an issue with this, maybe just use this protocol integrated over here. And I think that's very cool. If you guys are interested, the recording is up on Twitter. So yeah, definitely go give it a listen. Some very interesting chats, and especially people from P2P. It's nice to hear from people that are on the forefront and actually building. What are their opinions on the state of the staking industry?
Yeah, and we're looking to do a lot more of these as well. We really want to get other partners who are working with us on the stage, talking with us, sharing what they're up to, what they're doing, and just really highlighting the SSV network as a whole, who, what people's up to, and, how the industry is moving forward.
I mean, we have so many grantees. It's really amazing to see all of these people, building on SSV. And I mean, we're busy going live, but I think, we'll be seeing, in the tens, like many, let's not give a specific number, but, various staking applications go live while we go live. And then even afterwards, there's a bunch of them. So, I mean, if you want to find out a bit more about that, you can also check our grants page, link in the website under the developers tab. It's very interesting.
Okay, is that working? We can see the Twitter page, right?
Indeed.
Awesome stuff. Okay, 1 sec to get things organized. Great stuff. Okay, so and really the kind of motivation behind that was that P2P on the same day we're hosting an event called Staking Soiree, and if you can, I'm showing the wrong one. Okay, the first one we were just talking about was the DVT revolution, which you should be able to. You can send the screen, right? Because I'm looking at Discord. They say it's running, but it's not showing me. So yeah, thanks.
No, we good.
So thank you. So that's the event we were just talking about, DVT Revolution with P2P. You can pop onto SSV's Twitter and you'll find that there, and you can join the other few hundred people that have listened to it. So yeah, it's great. And then, as I was saying, the backstory behind that was that P2P organized this event called Staking Soiree, which is a side event in ETH, and they invited Alon. There was people from Lido, obviously from P2P, Signum Bank. A few words, just experts in the industry of staking and DVT to come and share their thoughts. And so that happened last night in the evening time afterwards. And so that went well. I think they kind of adapted it into a more of a networking evening afterwards. So if you were there, you're very lucky not to network with all these high-profile people.
So jealous.
Yeah.
On the boat in France, enjoying a good networking session. I'm just joking.
And I'd like to give a shout out to those from P2P as well. You know, it's been awesome working with you guys. You know, I mean, it's really, the communication was great, getting things set up so quickly as well, because we only planned to run this event from I think the end of last week, and we've got so much done quickly. You know, like in terms of the questions and working on their side and our side. So yeah, really enjoyed working with you guys at P2P. Okay,
Thanks,
next
mate.
it was. And Rob and I would love to get some people back from P2P talk in a few weeks, because we know there's a proposal right now. It hasn't quite been confirmed, but it's almost there. So once that goes through, it's been finalized, we'd love to get some guys on from P2P to talk about that, to have a longer session, like in this, to share with people what's happening or what, where things are heading at P2P.
They're truly building something very interesting.
So another one then is Starter Labs. Another one that's working with us in the SSV network as well. There's a lot happening in the network, and they have just announced that they are offering a staking bond basically for ETH. So
it's one of the lowest in the industry as far as I understand, and it's quite a big deal being able to reduce the. But yeah, I think that'll also be DVT based. So
yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It is. There's this reward. There's a 50% reward boost. I noticed that they were talking about reward rate over 6%, with 8 times leverage. It can, I think, increase by another 35%. I think what I quite liked about this, just juggling windows. What I really liked about this is this kind of mission that I'm reading from Starter, which says that they're trying to address the issue of centralization in staking, because the top 3 entities control over 50% of the ETH staked, right, which is a big concern. And Starter has self-imposed a limit of 22% of all staked ETH. So once they reach that, that's it. And I think that's admirable. That we do need to limit this, how centralized things are.
Yeah, who's controlling? I think what Marco also previously said was very important. Like, sorry, the fact that DVT has unlocked a lot of the stuff. Like having DVT available will make a lot of staking applications, easier to build. I mean, especially using SSV network, so it's no longer just the big dogs. People can come in, use our infrastructure and build staking pools, and they don't have to worry about all of those validator complexities. They can just focus on the products. And I think that for the industry is a major bonus.
The SSV to the rescue. Yeah. And we're, that's what we aim for, like to onboard the big dogs as well as everyone else. Because it's so easy to set up with SSV, the zero coordination, it makes it easy for these upstarts, right? People just get, starting out, getting a bit of investment, how can I say, it's making it more inclusive, right, for the staking industry, for people to get started and to grow their businesses around that. So yeah, there's a lot of really.
I think that's important. No worries. I think that's important, and I think now one of the big things is our next topic, which is Ethereum has changed now for the fact that we used to be able to only add, I think it was something like 4 validators per epoch, and now it's moved up to 10. So I mean, that's quite amazing, being able to bring more validators in more frequently. I think that just speaks to not the need, but the everyone that wants to join, and a lot of different businesses taking part now. I think institutional staking is becoming a major thing, and that's also something that DVT unlocks, providing more assurance and more robustness and resilience to the whole process. And I think the fact that we can have almost double the amount, or more than double the amount of validators entering now, just really speaks volumes. I mean, almost to about 20 million ETH, even more now probably.
21.5 here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Last week it was 20. So I mean, having more validators join in, being able to have more validators join in per epoch, I think is going to help skyrocket that number as well.
Yeah, and I think it's also awesome that now we're seeing the validator queue is coming down. So before we're just seeing it shoot up, right? There's like there's a blockage there, right? It's just taking longer and longer really to register your validator and get it on the network basically. And now because of this increase in how many we're having each epoch, we're starting to see that come down now. So it's good news.
I think so too.
Awesome stuff. Okay, next news item then is Coinbase temporarily suspending their staking services in like 4 states in the US. There's a lot of legal stuff going on in the US, isn't there?
It is. Was it California, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Wisconsin? The rest of the states can still access it, but I mean, as we were saying earlier, DVT could be a major help for this. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I think being able for these companies to be able to use DVT and kind of just make their services more robust. We'll have to see what the legislation says about using DVT maybe in the future. But I think for now, it's definitely a good solution. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I wonder what others think about this. Where do you think things are headed? I mean, if you've got some opinions, just share them, because everyone's got their own opinion on what's going to happen, haven't they? They either things, because of the XRP thing that happened recently. There's a bit of a precedent there that's supporting the industry right now. Do we think it's just going to work out well? Is it going to not work out well? Will things move out of the US? Somewhere else around the world, maybe in Europe or Asia, and so many possibilities, So it'd be interesting if you guys share your opinion.
For sure. All I can say is the SEC won't let me be.
Definitely.
Right.
And the next one is about StakeWise.
Right. Yeah. The last news topic is.
So they've released their version 3 testnet, which is up and running, and this basically gives stakers the power to access liquid staking from any node, prioritize control, self-custody, yield, and decentralization, as they say there. So yeah, exciting news.
They've integrated one of their, because as far as I know, StakeWise works with vaults. And you can choose different vaults. Some of the vaults have like legacy operators, and some of the newer vaults that they've added for V3 are actually DVT enabled vaults. So people will be able to actually use DVT now in StakeWise V3 and kind of experience the power. I think I saw in one of their articles actually that each vault has like a score, which is made up not made up by the DAO, but it's like determined by who are your operators and resilience and a bunch of other metrics. And the DVT vaults are actually scoring higher than the vaults that they originally had. So I think that is just from their side already, just saying DVT is basically the way to go if you want to go staking.
Do you say it's like a performance score that they're giving them, the vaults? Or
yeah, so it's like when you look at it, like the different vaults. So let's say you have like 3 vaults, and then you have like one vault that is like the legacy operators, and then you have another vault which are other operators, and then you can have one with SSV or level or whatever, and then those vaults, when you get those scores, like they're rated by StakeWise. The vaults that had DVT enabled did have higher scores.
Would that be kind of like SSV's clusters? Huh? If we had like a cluster and then if we gave them like scores or something, would that be similar sort of thing?
Similar sort of thing. I think it's more from the user perspective to see, maybe, I don't know, it's kind of signaling people to use DVT, I guess. But it's just like from their side, it's a score that they give based on different metrics, like robustness and, performance and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see this getting integrated, as things are moving forward.
For sure. I think this year and next year is the year of DVT in staking.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Okay, so I think those are some important events that we've covered there, and now we can open the floor. I mean, if anybody has any questions, then you can post them in the chat. If you want to just come up and speak briefly and ask us, or share some opinions, you're welcome to that as well.
No, for sure. Hit up on. But in the meantime, if no one has any questions,
I think we'll be good to wrap things up then.
Yeah, everyone's good. I think this was a goodie. It was nice to have Marco on. We're going to be having guests in the future much more often. We have a few exciting guests lined up, which we won't divulge at the moment. But please stay tuned. And we'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining.